Blog Talk Radio. Blog Talk Radio.
Hello?
Good morning and welcome to Unlimited Realities. I am your host, Lisa Zimmer, and I am thrilled to offer the guests I have today for you. We are going to be speaking with Michel Pascal, who is not only a transformational meditation singer, but he's also created a new movie called Expanding Reality. And we're going to be speaking about that incredible venture and documentary that is filled with so much everybody needs to be watching and everyone needs to be seeing today. In the second half hour, we have an equally intriguing guest who is not only an advocate, an expert, and an author, but she wrote the book ABCs of CBD, Shira Adler, and we are going to be speaking with her to discuss what her purpose in regard to her calling with CBD oil, the understanding and education of it for our country, and also dispelling a lot of the erroneous understandings and knowledge that are predominant throughout many awarenesses in our America of today. So without further ado, I have such an incredible guest first off to talk about and talk with. Michel Pascal, transformational meditation singer and director of Expanding Reality. Welcome to Unlimited Realities. Thank you for coming on my show today.
Hello, Lisa. I am so
wonderful
happy
to have you today.
To be your show. I am so glad to be with you, Lisa.
Oh,
yes?
Thank you. Well, it's wonderful to have you. I am so impressed by all the work you're doing. You are such a very busy man, and I know
No. My schedule is busy, not me.
Well,
me, I refuse to be busy. My schedule is busy. Me, no, my mind is calm, is clear. My schedule is busy, not me at all.
Well, see, look how wonderful that perspective is. I mean, if we could all just grasp onto that little tidbit nugget and live our life every day with that, that would just be a blessing, wouldn't it? But I want to introduce you to my audience, because if they don't know you, they need to know you, because you are not only a transformational meditation singer who performed at Carnegie Hall and Google and numerous other venues, but you have also sung and recorded with the infamous Carlos Santana, and is now recording a new album with Myron McKinley and Verdine White from the Earth, Wind, and Fire group. That is to be released, Carnegie Hall, November 26th, 2018, which is right around the corner, people. If you want to go see something incredible, now's your time to get on it. So let's talk about this expanding reality, which I have to say is a beautiful compliment to my unlimited realities. I just feel like it's a sister cousin to me. So let's talk about these incredible experts you have, these wonderful scientists and people who are tackling a topic that not only is something everyone who has ever thought about what does life mean, but what does death mean, are addressing. You're addressing consciousness. You're addressing expanding consciousness. You're addressing a scientific discovery that once it's touched upon is probably going to change everyone's reality. How was this concept, this idea of a movie birthed? What inspired you to get involved with this movie first off?
It was the idea to make a bridge between the last discoveries in science about death that make Dr. Gary Schwartz, for example, the incredible scientist, Professor Gary Schwartz, because Gary directs the laboratory the most advanced in the world in Tucson University in Arizona about the death. And also amazing scientists like Dr. Mario Beauregard, Natalie Trent. I will say one of the best scientists, what they say today about the death, and what we know in spirituality about the death. And when I talk about spirituality, I will say from the Buddhism perspective. Because before to live in America, I live in a Buddhist monastery during many years. I am the disciple of Chepa Dorje Rinpoche. So it's very interesting to see that today, the last discoveries of science, they confirm exactly what we know, for example, in Buddhism since 5,000 years. And what we know in Buddhism, it's exactly what we know in Native American tradition. It's exactly what we know in different tribes, Apache, Sioux. I work a lot with the Chumash tribes in California. So the Egyptian also, what they say, Maya, I mean, all the tradition in spirituality develop a lot about death. But in Buddhism, the teaching about the death is extremely precise. It's really a science. So when we compare the experience in spirituality since thousands and thousands of years and the last discoveries of science, what we see, this is the documentary, we see they say the same thing with different angles, but they say the same thing. We live in a very special time. Science confirms exactly the Buddhist perspective, for example, about the death.
Yes. I find this time extremely accelerating on so many levels for everyone because of the combination of bringing science and spirituality together and not making it separate from one another, but in fact intact. And that's why I found this movie so groundbreaking and necessary and important for everybody to watch, because this brings our experts, this brings a group of experts in one sector to discuss one topic that is going to be not only a topic that gives some answers, but also tweaks our mind in a way that expands it. It makes us think differently. It makes us feel differently. It makes us look at life in a more precious context. And I really feel that the more we can pump that kind of energy into the world today, as confused as this world is right now, that it brings balance to people. It gives roots to people. It gives people hope. And these are the things that the world is really crying out for. And so your purpose here in this movie, Expanding Reality, I can't give you enough credit and kudos and support for this, because not only is it a topic very dear to my heart, but it's a topic that I feel everybody needs to be touched upon. So when you were going through all of this research with these experts and this information, and as you were saying, the many indigenous, a lot of indigenous tribes and cultures have this innate knowing, and they have this thread of similarity in their teachings and their awarenesses, whether it's the Navajos, whether it's the Egyptians, whether it's, the Essenes. They all have this innate connection that seems to come from an expanded reality, an expanded consciousness. So when we talk about expanded consciousness and how spirit and brain activity and this realization leads us to scientific breakthrough, do you feel that we're in a time right now that is making us look for answers more, that because of our desperation and our fears, we have people like you who are creating the expanded reality movie? And do you also feel that there's more scientists stepping up and being brave to embrace this topic?
Your question is very, very, very interesting, Liza, and thank you so much to ask this question, because what we see, for example, in this movie, I develop the Buddhist perspective because this is my lineage, but we forget that an authentic spirituality, it's not a belief, it's an experience. It's so important. Right. Dalai Lama say all the time, Buddhism, it's not a religion, it's a science of the mind. So what does it mean? It means that, for example, in Buddhism, we don't believe in something. We experiment something. So, for example, we compare two informations, we investigate informations to be absolutely sure about something. So, authentic spirituality, it's like a science. It's like a science.
Yes.
It's like Albert Einstein explained. Einstein explained all the time that a science, it's when we can compare, when we can have proof. It's exactly that we have, for example, in Buddhism. It's not to say, oh, if I die, I will go to the paradise or I will go to the hell. It doesn't work like that because it's metaphor. But the only thing that we can be sure today, it's we will die. And we realize that the concept that we have of the death, it's a totally wrong perception of the reality. This is exactly what proves the science today and what explains and proves spirituality. When I say spirituality, I don't say religion like I believe this, I believe that, you must believe in Jesus. I don't enter in the archetype. Just when I talk about Buddhism, I don't talk at all about the cliche, or meditation, how I am sitting down in a lotus position. It doesn't work like that.
Right.
When we live in a monastery, we don't do that. So it's so funny. So when I talk about Buddhism, I talk, for example, from the Nyingma lineage, my school. In Nyingma, it's amazing how we study in details, for example, the process of the death, the moment of the death, the moment we go on the other side, the moment our energy goes on the other side. It's extremely interesting. In Buddhism, for example, we do the powa every day. What is the powa? The powa is the preparation of the death. Every day we prepare the moment because we know the moment will happen. Maybe today, maybe in 20 years. We don't know, but it will happen. To be very aware how to feel better during this moment, how to be calmer, how to have no fears, how to be more connected to the universe. So just if we start to develop that, we realize that in Buddhism, death, it's a science. So the thing so interesting is to see that science today confirms exactly the Buddhist perspective, for example. As Gary Schwartz says, the energy never dies. The energy transforms. So there is no death. There is a transformation of the life. It works like that. My Rinpoche in my monastery, he did all time something so beautiful. He take a piece of paper, he burned the paper. You see the smoke. He open a window, the smoke goes in the street, and he say, where is the paper? So, it's a beautiful metaphor because we see in science, they confirm exactly the Buddhist perspective that the energy never dies. The energy never starts, never ends. It's a perpetual continuum. So when we start to talk like that, we are closer physics quantum, that all is a perpetual mechanism in the universe. So we see that we have fears, we are so stressed, we are in the suffering because we have a totally wrong perception of the life. As Gary Schwartz, we are educated since we are a child with a totally wrong perception of the life, totally wrong perception of the death. Because we think, we are sure that there is a beginning and an end, but it doesn't work like that. All the last discoveries in science prove, compare. There is no debate that when we die, our energy is moving in the room where we die, it's moving in the cosmos. It's a perpetual magma of the energy. So in this documentary with Gabriella Wright, she's an amazing actress, to bring us inside this movie, we realize that when the mind is calm, when we are no stress, we can feel the eternity.
Right.
the eternity of the universe, the eternity inside us, and why we are full of fears, as you